Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks, and I'm the lead beat writer for Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And I will be joining you today as I have every day for the last 2 months and every day moving forward. Football season is right around the corner. Arizona State football 2025 season kicks off on August 30th against sorry, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, an FCS rival, obviously in state. Um, shouldn't be much of a challenge for Arizona State. NAU is a fantastic FCS program at the moment, but Arizona State just too deep, too much talent, too quick. Should be a great tune-up for the Mississippi State game the week after. But I'm so grateful to be covering the team this season, most anticipated Arizona State season in at least a decade. And I couldn't be more grateful, like I said, to be covering the team through all of it. And I appreciate your support so much. I couldn't do it without each and every one of you. And before we get started today, please give me a follow on X/Twitter at khicks_21 when you get the chance to do so. I will be posting story content daily from now on. I will be posting videos from practice when I can, press conferences, even game footage, post game footage, anything that you could think of will be right there. So thank you so much for giving me a follow if you do so. So in today's episode, I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what we were discussing previously about the power scaling of college football. So, as you may or may not be aware of, they are currently discussing, well, the different conferences are currently discussing an expansion of the college football playoff from 12 to 16 teams. Obviously, the 12-team format just started last year in 2024. They're looking to expand to 16 teams by 2026, by next season. And the argument really at the surface is to make the competitive balance more in line with the current landscape of college football. SEC and Big Ten programs are claiming that it will create more competition, but in reality, it just gives the SEC and Big Ten more bids, and in reality, it just helps with TV deals. That's really what it comes down to. Excuse me. So the SEC arrangement is not beneficial to any conference but the SEC. The SEC is proposing that there are, I believe, 6 auto bids between 6 conferences, and the rest of the 10 bids would be at large, which the majority of those would go to SEC programs. The Big Ten, I believe, is 4 bids to the SEC, 4 bids to the Big Ten, 2 bids to the Big 12, and 2 bids to the ACC. And then the rest of them are at large. I believe that there's a group of 5 bid as well in that, but I would have to check and see to confirm that. Yeah, in reality, this would probably do much more harm than good to Arizona State. I know the Big Ten proposal looks good on paper. Getting 2 automatic Big 12 bids in isn't such a bad thing, but in reality, who's to say Arizona State and whoever else joins them in a prospective college football playoff down the road doesn't get ranked 14, 15, 16? Who's to say that? We already see that the committee is very likely going to be skewed towards SEC and Big Ten bias over the last several months. So who's to say that Arizona State couldn't go 11-2 again and be ranked 13, 14 and have to travel to a team that's ranked in the top 3 or 4? It just isn't fair to Arizona State. They shouldn't be penalized for college conferences trying to flex their muscles. And realistically, don't fix what isn't broken. The 12-team format worked great. There were a lot of quality games past the first round. That's another thing. The first round was full of blowouts. Tennessee got absolutely crushed by Ohio State. Notre Dame absolutely crushed Indiana. Penn State absolutely crushed SMU. The only game that was reasonably close was Texas and Clemson, and Texas still won by 2 touchdowns. There was little to no competitive balance in the first round, and that was amongst teams that were relatively closely ranked together. The 9-8 Tennessee Ohio State game, Ohio State won by 3 scores. I mean, obviously, Ohio State was better than where they were seated at, but still, the first round just looks like it's clearing the way for the real contenders, as it kind of is in every league, I suppose. But what would happen if you get a 1 versus 16 matchup, a 2 versus 15 matchup? Those teams that rank they're seeded 15, 16 are obviously good teams, but they aren't hanging with the one or two team, number one or number two team in the nation. That just isn't going to happen. So realistically, it's just the SEC and Big Ten just trying to hoard more bids, get better TV deals, all the business side of things. But what benefit does it make to college football as a whole? What benefit does it have for the ACC and the Big 12? The ACC and the Big 12 deserve a bigger seat at the table. Yeah, the Big 12 doesn't have any current blue bloods in the conference, but they do have teams that have the potential, programs that have the potential to get to that stage at one day or one point. Arizona State, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas State, they all are consistently good programs. They all have the resources, they all have the outlook to end up being a power broker or having multiple power brokers in the conference. The ACC has Clemson and Florida State, at least at the moment, along with Miami and a couple other programs that hold weight. So what that there isn't Alabama, there isn't Ohio State, there isn't Oregon in the conference. They still deserve respect, and teams in those conferences shouldn't be penalized for realignment in college football. It just isn't fair, especially for Arizona State, a program that proved their worth last season by nearly beating Texas. They were one play away from defeating Texas in a college football playoff game. And that feels like that's only the stepping stone for what they can accomplish moving forward. So I very much am in favor of keeping the CFP at 12 teams. And potentially Arizona State has the ability to be joined by another program if they are to win the Big 12 again. Who's to say that Texas Tech or Utah or a TCU even couldn't join Arizona State in the CFP? That is a very fair question. Could there be two Big 12 bids this season? They might not even need expansion to get more teams in. We will see, though. Arizona State season begins on August 30th. Obviously, the goal in mind is to repeat as Big 12 champions, to secure a victory in the CFP like they nearly did last season. And the anticipation has absolutely reached a fever pitch in Tempe. So many fans are absolutely thrilled right now with the outlook going into the season and looking forward. And I am so honored to cover this team once again. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.